talk a little bit about samples and getting samples collected, tracked, and make sure they get picked up and taken to the laboratory. To begin with, we're just going to navigate in our tree view over here. We're going to go into a daily report. We're in a task on a particular project. We're doing some drainage facilities here. Material samples generally are going to be subordinate to a particular daily report. We have some density tests that we're taking out here. We're taking a material sample, and we're going to take a look at this material sample. Just like any other assignment in our system, we can take notes. We can have it assigned to a particular individual. In this case, it's not so important. But one of the things that are different about a sample assignment in our system is that a sample is started in the field and it is completed once it gets to the lab, and that kind of makes sense. A little different than a daily inspection report or a density report, both of which get started and completed in the field by the technician that is doing the assignment. But we need to be able to track these samples and make sure they get to the lab. So once they get started, we've got instructions here that the sample gets started, and it will get filled out, and the information will be added by the technician in the field. He'll select a few items, tests that he might want to get done on that particular sample, and that sample will be, once he saved it and marks it started, it will go onto a samples in transit list, and everybody that monitors the samples in transit list will be able to see that this sample is somewhere between getting out in the, being created out in the field and getting to the lab. And concrete is the same situation. Have a concrete pour, which is kind of the DIR for the concrete, and all the pour information will go in at this level. And then you'll have several different cylinder sets, which are samples. And of course, out in the field, they will be started out in the field. And once they get to the lab, they will be completed. Concrete cylinder sets are a little more difficult because they have to wait out in the field for a period of time before they can be transported to get the initial cure set for that, the cylinders that have been created. And so it's important that we're able to get somebody to pick those up. The technician out in the field is the best person to make decisions about how to get those picked up. And so as a sub-assignment, he can go in and obviously create cylinder sets, which is part of what it's going to be supported to that, but he can also assign a pickup and make that subordinate to that particular cylinder set. And in this particular situation, it will always show what the sample ID is for the cylinder set that he's working on. You can also have this particular pickup assignment apply to different cylinder sets if there's more than one. And it just needs to identify additional barcodes or sample IDs that need to be picked up. You can put in different information that is relevant. You can also indicate where the cylinders are going to get dropped off, and by selecting a lab that he's going to drop them off at. Once those are done, then we go to the dashboard. This is the lab dashboard, and of course the first of the listings that they're going to be concerned about is the samples in transit listing. These are all of the samples that have been created in the field, have not yet been received at the lab. This can be filtered by all labs for this company, or just the lab that that you're at. So generally, that's what you're going to be looking at. We'll filter by time. One of the things that's important here is we, for each sample that's out there, we indicate who has been assigned to pick that up. And we have information about, the pickup assignment, when he's supposed to pick that up, and all of that shows up here so that we can see that everything is being handled. Of course, samples for aggregates and for HMA samples. Generally, those get taken back to the lab and dropped off at the end of the day by the technician. Uh, concrete cylinders are harder to deal with that way because they have to, again, stay out in the field for a while and have to be picked up often by somebody else. And you got sample information here, which will be material descriptions, any other information that you might need to have to get those samples back in the lab. At the end of the day, the person in charge of receiving at the lab should monitor this, and the only items at the end of the day should be those cylinder sets that were created today and are still out there on the shoulder of a roadway someplace, ready to come in and do what they need to be able to do. But this samples in transit listing is available for, of course, the lab, but project managers also might want to have this available, so it's available on their dashboard. And technicians also have this available. Technicians' dashboard is relatively simple. Their work is all around their to-do list and what they need to get done that day. But they also have a samples in transit, so they can go in and monitor samples that are out there that they want to make sure get back into the lab. So anyway, that's just a little bit about samples in transit. I hope you learned something, and we'll talk again next time.